head housemaid named Mrs. Cho is tasked to find a nanny for her wealthy employer. She meets with the cheerful but poor girl named Eunice, who readily accepts the job. On her first day, Eunice meets with her employer Hero, who is pregnant with twins, and they seem to get along quickly. She also meets Hero's child named Nomi, whom she is going to babysit. Nomi seems to be emotionally distant and is not interested in talking with anyone, despite Eunice's effort to get along with her. When Hero asks her daughter if she likes the new housemaid, Nomi says she is very nice to her and she thinks Eunice is different from the others. Hero's husband Jun later arrives and greets his daughter. Mrs. Cho then tells Eunice to bring wine to the couple's room. Hero says the new housemaid seems kind of childlike, and Jun thinks it is good because she'll get along with the kids. Eunice's room is just right next to Nomi. The girl later calls her and asks to leave the door open a little. The next morning, Eunice brings breakfast to Jun, who is playing the piano, and it seems that she starts to develop a crush on her boss. She then helps Hero take a bath and later cleans her nails. That evening, while the housemaid is cleaning the bathtub, Jun comes in and he couldn't help but glance at her legs. Eunice felt awkward, so she quickly finishes the job. One day, the family decides to go to a hot spring where Eunice gets to swim and play with Nomi. The couple later makes love and Jun does not seem to enjoy it, perhaps because her wife is pregnant. A while later, Eunice sees her boss going downstairs, so she quickly puts on her clothes and covers herself with blanket. After giving her some wine, the boss starts to touch her intimately until she finally gives in. Everyone goes home the next morning like nothing happened. Hero thanks Eunice for taking care of them, and the housemaid just smiles, but deeply, she feels guilty for what she did. Every day, Jun and Eunice couldn't help exchanging glances, and one evening, the boss gives her an envelope and says it is her bonus. While everyone is asleep, Jun sneaks to the housemaid's room where Eunice is lying naked in bed. They later do it, but they had no idea that Mrs. Cho is wide awake and is listening behind the door. Eunice starts putting on some makeup and the head housemaid is just quietly observing her. Jun gives her another bonus check and Eunice seems to be disappointed. Mrs. Cho sees her taking care of Hero, and the head housemaid looks disgusted at how Eunice casually bonds with the wife despite cheating with her husband. One evening, Mrs. Cho tells Eunice how much she hated her job. She asks the young housemaid how long is she planning to work there, and Eunice says she loves her job. Mrs. Cho then asks her if she is seeing someone, and the housemaid says no. Mrs. Cho decides to tell Hero's mother Maggie about Jun's affair with the housemaid. She also thinks that Eunice is pregnant with his child without her knowing. Maggie visits her daughter in the house, and when she sees the housemaid cleaning the chandelier, she intentionally knocks over her ladder, causing Eunice to fall. The housemaid was brought to the hospital and the doctor says that she just had a minor concussion. Meanwhile, Maggie tells Hero that her husband is having an affair with the housemaid and that she might be pregnant. Hero realizes that her mother intentionally knocked over the ladder. Mrs. Cho later calls and says Eunice just had some minor injuries. Maggie asks if she had a miscarriage, and Mrs. Cho says the doctors did not find out yet if she was pregnant. Mrs. Cho brings flowers to Eunice and says Hero's mother was sorry for the accident. She also gives payment as consolation. Jun arrives from a business trip and had no idea what happened in the house. He asks Mrs. Cho where the young housemaid is, and she says that she is in the hospital because she is not feeling well. Back at the hospital, Eunice learns from the doctor that she is already 1 month pregnant. Her best friend learns that she is pregnant with her boss child, and she advises Eunice to leave that house immediately. Eunice later arrives home, and her best friend gives her herbal medicine before leaving. Hero still cannot believe that her husband cheated with a mere housemaid, and her mother tells her that cheating is always part of the package when she married a rich guy. She advises her to just endure it since despite it all, only Jun can give her the life she wants. While Eunice is sleeping, Hero sneaks into her room with a golf club. She is about to hit her, but then she stops. Mrs. Cho sees this and didn't say anything because she understands what the wife feels. The next day Mrs. Cho warns Eunice to leave already and never come back, but the naive housemaid just ignores this. She is later called to Hero's room, where the wife slaps and hits her multiple times. Maggie then offers the housemaid $100,000 to have an abortion and leave. Hero believes that Eunice wouldn't give up her baby because she saw how affectionate she is with Nomi, so much more for her own child. Mrs. Cho tries to convince the housemaid to get rid of the child because she knows that Hero and her mother wouldn't stop until they get what they wanted. Nomi later apologizes to Eunice because of what her grandmother did. She says she saw Maggie do it on purpose. Nomi says she feels bad for her because she is a good person, and Eunice is touched. One evening, Hero puts tampered pouches to the herbal medicine that Eunice drinks every day. She then tells Mrs. Cho to move the housemaid to another room. The next day, Nomi goes to Eunice and finds out that she is going to be replaced by another nanny. Nomi asks why, and the housemaid says she is pregnant. She is thinking about telling her that the baby is her sibling, but they got interrupted when Nomi is called by her grandma downstairs. Eunice tells Mrs. Cho that she has decided not to abort her child, and the head housemaid tells her that this could get her in danger. Meanwhile, June returns from his business trip and heads straight to the hospital where Hero is giving birth to the twin. After having their family picture, the husband says he'll head home to change clothes. When he arrives home, June is shocked to find Eunice taking a bath in their tub. June asks what's wrong with her, and Eunice reveals that she is pregnant. She also says that Hero and her mom paid her to have her child aborted. Moments later, Eunice starts to vomit blood. Despite her agony, the housemaid pleaded with June that she wants to have the child, and she promises not to cause any trouble for them. The doctor later arrives, and they take Eunice to the hospital. Maggie then instructs Mrs. Cho that she does not want the housemaid back in the house. June tells his mother-in-law that Eunice's baby was his. Maggie says that the housemaid just made it up so she can get money from him. But then June asks why do they need to poison her if it wasn't his. He is shocked that they can do such horrible thing, and it was still his child that they tried to kill. At the hospital, the doctors aborted the baby without Eunice knowing. Mrs. Cho stayed around during the operation, and she feels sorry for what happened to the young housemaid. She later tells Eunice that it must be Hero who poisoned her, and when she admits that she was the one who told them she was pregnant, Eunice slaps her. The head housemaid apologizes and says that she was ashamed of what she did. Eunice is determined to seek revenge. One day, she goes back to the house and manages to get inside with Mrs. Cho's help. She breastfeeds one of the babies, and June is aghast when he sees her holding his child. Eunice hands her the babies and runs around the house like a child. Everyone gathers in the living room, and Hero orders Mrs. Cho to kick Eunice out of the house. The head housemaid is fed up with all of them and has decided to quit her job immediately. Eunice later appears and Nomi asks how is the baby in her tummy. The housemaid says it died, and when the girl asks why, Eunice just stares at the couple. Mrs. Cho begs the housemaid to just leave the house with her and forget about seeking revenge. Eunice says that she can't get it out of her head, and she can't take it anymore. While tying a rope in her head, Eunice apologizes to Nomi for what she is going to do. She immediately jumps in front of the family and later sets herself on fire. Everyone quickly goes outside, but Nomi watches through the glass door, forever traumatized by the incident. A month later, the family celebrates Nomi's birthday outdoors, and the couple seems to have gone insane as June pours champagne on their daughter's glass. Moments later, Nomi leaves them, and she stares blankly in the distance. Did you like our movie recap? Please don't forget to like and subscribe to our channel. To be updated for new movie recaps, hit the notification bell.